In recent years, the luxury SUV segment has become a laboratory for technological experimentation. Each new generation adds more electric motors, more sensors, more automated systems, and more promises of revolutionary capabilities. The problem is that this race to innovate does not always prioritize durability or the real long-term cost of ownership. Outside the warranty period, many of these advanced solutions turn into failure points that are difficult to repair and expensive to maintain, especially in markets with limited service infrastructure. This analysis does not seek to impress with numbers, but to put into context the real risks that exist behind extreme luxury and complex engineering. Our Hongqi HS7, the elegant giant with feet of clay. We begin with the Hongqi HS7, and let me tell you something, this vehicle seduces you from the very first moment. When you open the door and sit in those Napa leather seats, when you run your hand over those perfectly finished metal trims, when you close the door and experience that vault-like silence, you think you've just discovered the best-kept secret in the luxury market. And in part, it's true. The HS7 was built to compete directly with the Range Rover, the BMW X7, the Mercedes GLS. Its acoustic insulation is exceptional. On the highway at 120 kilometers per hour, you can hold a whispered conversation. The air suspension system absorbs imperfections in the asphalt as if you were floating on clouds. But, and here comes the big but that no one tells you at the dealership. Imagine this scenario. You're in Calgary. It's February, minus 25 degrees Celsius outside, just an ordinary Canadian winter day. You have a minor collision in the supermarket parking lot. Nothing serious, a hit to the rear bumper, minor damage, you think. You call the insurance company, take the car to the shop, and then the nightmare begins. The specific HS7 bumper is not in stock in Canada. It has to be ordered from China. Waiting time, between 6 and 12 weeks. 6 to 12 weeks for a bumper. Meanwhile, your $80,000 SUV is immobilized. Insurance covers the repair, but the rental car is only covered for 30 days. And what if it's something more complex? A module from the driver assistance system, a sensor from the automatic braking system. We're talking about ultra-specialized components that only a handful of workshops across Canada can properly diagnose. I spoke with a technician in Toronto who told me about an HS7 that arrived with a fault in the adaptive suspension system. They had to wait 14 weeks for the control module. 14 weeks. The owner ended up selling the car at a loss simply because he couldn't wait any longer. Hongqi's service network in Canada is microscopic. We're talking about maybe a dozen dealerships in the entire country. If you live in a secondary city, the nearest authorized dealership could be 300 or 400 kilometers away. A minor issue on a Friday afternoon? Your weekend has just been ruined. And here's what's truly problematic. When the time comes to sell the car, all these factors are reflected in the resale price. A 3-year-old BMW X7 retains approximately 55 to 60% of its original value. An HS7 from the same year is struggling to maintain 40%. It's brutal depreciation that can mean a difference of $20,000 to $30,000. The Hongqi HS7 is a magnificent car until you need something. Then you discover that elegance and luxury come with a hidden cost that no one mentions in the glossy brochure. 9. Li Auto L9, the technological marvel of complexity. Now let's talk about the Li Auto L9, and friends, get ready because this is a fascinating case of how cutting-edge technology can become your worst enemy. The L9 is, objectively, a masterpiece of engineering. Hybrid powertrain with range extender, 0 to 100 acceleration in under 6 seconds, total range of more than 1,000 kilometers combining electricity and gasoline. The interior looks like the cabin of a private jet, 5 screens, 21-speaker sound system, seats with massage and ventilation, integrated refrigerator. It's like having an Apple store on wheels, and that is precisely the problem. The L9 has dozens of control modules, hundreds of sensors, thousands of lines of code working together so that everything functions perfectly. Now let's add the Canada factor. Winnipeg in January, minus 35 degrees Celsius. The L9 is parked outside all night. In the morning, you try to start it. The main battery needs to warm up before it can deliver full performance. The thermal management system kicks in. Pumps, valves, electrical resistances, everything working simultaneously to bring the battery to its optimal operating temperature. This cycle repeats every single day for 5 or 6 months a year. Every time the temperature drops below -10, the system operates in thermal emergency mode. Lithium-ion batteries hate the cold. Their capacity can drop by up to 40% in extreme temperatures. An owner in Edmonton shared his experience with me. In summer, his L9 would easily do 80 kilometers in fully electric mode before the range extender kicked in. In the dead of winter, that figure dropped to 45 kilometers, almost half. And the range extender, a small gasoline engine, would constantly kick in, not only to move the car, but to help heat the battery. The result? Gasoline consumption that rivaled traditional SUVs, completely cancelling out the efficiency advantage that a hybrid is supposed to offer. But wait, there's more. The complexity of the system creates a domino effect when something fails. A faulty temperature sensor can cause the entire thermal management system to enter safe mode. The screens can randomly reboot. The navigation system can lose calibration. And since everything is interconnected through an incredibly complex CAN bus network, diagnosing the exact origin of the problem becomes a technical nightmare. I've seen reports of L9s under warranty that had to visit the dealership 4 or 5 times for the same problem because the technicians couldn't pinpoint exactly which module was causing the failure. And each visit means days without a car, a courtesy car if you're lucky, accumulated frustration, and after the warranty. This is where things get really interesting. Replacing a hybrid system control module can cost between $3,000 and $8,000, just the part, not including labor or diagnostics. A full battery replacement out of warranty could be in the $15,000 to $25,000 range. The Li Auto L9 represents the future of the automobile, but it also represents the future of mechanical headaches. It's a spectacular vehicle for those who use it under warranty in temperate climates. For everyone else, it's a high-risk bet. 8. Auto M9 technology ages faster than the car. Developed in collaboration with Huawei, it is the perfect definition of digital luxury. This is not simply a car with screens. It is a computer on wheels, a complete technological ecosystem designed to integrate with your smartphone, your smart home, your digital life. The HUMILIATIng infotainment system is honestly impressive. Instant response, high-definition graphics, seamless integration with Huawei devices. The driver assistance system uses next-generation LiDAR sensors, capable of creating real-time 3D maps of the surroundings. On paper, this car is light years ahead of the traditional competition. But here is the fundamental problem no one is discussing. In technology, light years ahead today means obsolete tomorrow. Let me explain it with a concrete example. You buy an Auto M9 in 2024. By 2027, just 3 years later, Huawei has released 2 new generations of its HarmonyOS system. The processors are twice as fast. The cameras have triple the resolution. The assisted driving algorithms can handle situations that your version does not even recognize, and you are stuck with 2024 hardware. Yes, you receive software updates. Yes, certain functions improve. But the processors installed in the car have physical limits. You cannot upgrade the hardware the way you upgrade an iPhone. Those cameras, those LiDAR sensors, those image processing chips are soldered, integrated. They are a permanent part of the vehicle. The result? By 2027, when you try to sell your 3-year-old M9, the market is already flooded with models that have significantly superior autonomous driving capabilities. Your car, which cost $90,000 new, now competes with new $70,000 cars that do everything it does but better. I have seen depreciation estimates for the AITO M9 that are absolutely brutal. We are talking about retaining perhaps 35 to 40% of the original value after only 3 years. To put it in perspective, a Mercedes EQS, which is its closest competitor, retains approximately 50 to 55% over the same period. And then there are ecosystem-specific repair issues. Does a camera from the driver assistance system stop working? You cannot simply replace it with just any camera. You need a specific Huawei camera, calibrated specifically for the HarmonyOS system of your year and software version. A technician in Vancouver told me they had an M9 with a failure in the LiDAR module. The part cost $4,500, but here is the best part. The supplier only sold updated units, not the exact version the car required. Result, they needed to simultaneously update 3 different modules to maintain system compatibility. Total repair cost, $12,000 for one sensor. The Auto M9 is an impressive technological showcase, but it is also a brutal reminder that in the modern automotive world, buying cutting-edge technology means accepting that you will become obsolete faster than ever before in the history of the automobile. 7. NIOES 8. The Dilemma of Non-Existent Infrastructure. It is a high-end electric SUV with all-wheel drive, outstanding acceleration, and a premium-level interior. In its home market, the brand relies on its own ecosystem that includes rapid battery swap stations and comprehensive service centers. This system is a central part of its value proposition. In Canada, this specific infrastructure is not available. The user depends exclusively on the conventional public charging network or home charging. This substantially changes the user experience compared to what the brand promises. The large capacity battery allows for high ranges in mild conditions. However, in prolonged cold climates, the actual range is significantly reduced. The battery's thermal management system and the continuous use of heating increase energy consumption, while highway driving in winter reduces aerodynamic efficiency. In practice, the range can drop to values noticeably lower than the theoretical ones, forcing a more careful planning of long trips. This reduction is not just an operational inconvenience, but a change in the vehicle's usage pattern. In winter conditions, planning charging stops becomes critical, and the so-called range anxiety intensifies. Furthermore, frequent operation in extreme temperatures subjects the battery to greater thermal stress, which can accelerate cell degradation over time. The medium and long-term consequence is a greater loss of useful range and a more pronounced depreciation compared to markets with milder climates. Added to this is the high cost of battery replacement out of warranty, which increases the financial risk for the owner. 6. XPeng G9, the premium SUV that winter punishes. The XPeng G9 hit the market with ambitious promises, a range of up to 650 kilometers, 800-volt ultra-fast charging, adaptive suspensions, and acoustic insulation comparable to a Rolls-Royce. And in laboratory conditions in a mild climate, it delivers all of that. The problem is that Canada is not a laboratory. Physics is relentless with electric vehicles in cold weather, and the G9 is no exception. In fact, due to its very high-capacity battery and its focus on performance, some of the challenges are amplified. Let's do some real math. Imagine you live in Ottawa. You buy a G9 with the 98 kilowatt-hour battery. In spring and autumn, you easily get 550 to 600 kilometers of mixed range. You are delighted. The car is quiet, comfortable, powerful. It seems like the perfect purchase. December arrives, the first serious snowfall, temperature -15 degrees. You leave in the morning. The car has been parked outside, the battery is cold. The preheating system starts to work. You have already consumed 5 to 8% of the charge before moving a single meter. You start driving. The heating is on full blast because it's -15 outside. Heated seats are on, heated steering wheel, defroster working. Each of these systems consumes energy, a lot of energy. The thermal management system is struggling to keep the battery in the optimal range of 20 to 30 degrees Celsius. To do that, it needs energy. Energy that comes from the same battery it is trying to protect. It is a vicious cycle. Your 600-kilometer range turns into 350 to 400 kilometers, in the best-case scenario. If there is a strong wind, if you're on the highway at a constant speed, if the temperature drops even further, you could be looking at 300 kilometers or less. But the real damage is not the day-to-day inconvenience. The real damage is what is happening invisibly at the cellular level in that battery. Every time you subject a lithium-ion battery to significant thermal stress, you accelerate its degradation. Cells expand and contract with temperature changes. Electrolytes break down faster. The ability to hold a charge gradually decreases. A study from the University of British Columbia showed that electric vehicle batteries operated in the Canadian climate degrade approximately 30 to 40% faster than the same batteries in mild climates. 30 to 40% faster, which means that your G9, after 6 to 7 years of Canadian use, could have the battery health equivalent to a 10-year-old vehicle used in California. And when you try to sell it, the market knows this. Potential buyers do the same math. Depreciation accelerates. The Xpeng G9 is a fantastic car. But it is a fantastic car designed for markets where winter means 10 degrees, not -30. 5. Zeekr 001 SUV, the sporty beast with a hunger for tires. We come to the Zeekr 001 in SUV configuration, and here we have something different. This is not your electric SUV focused on efficiency and comfort. This is a performance SUV. We are talking about versions with more than 500 horsepower, 0 to 100 in less than 4 seconds, and dynamic behavior that puts many pure sports cars to shame. It is exciting, it is fast, it is impressive, and it is expensive to maintain. Here is what nobody tells you. Performance comes at a price, and that price is paid in tires, brakes, and energy. Let's start with the basics. The Zeekr 001 SUV weighs approximately 2,400 kilograms. That is nearly 2.5 tons of mass. Now let's add electric motors that can deliver maximum instantaneous torque from 0 RPM. The result? Every time you floor the accelerator, those tires take a brutal load. I have spoken with owners in British Columbia who are replacing tires every 25,000 to 30,000 kilometers. To put it in perspective, a similar BMW X5 can do 50,000 to 60,000 kilometers on the same set of tires. The cost of a set of sport specification tires for the Zeekr 001 is between 1,800 and 2,500 Canadian dollars installed and balanced. We are looking at $2,000 plus dollars every 25,000 kilometers. That's 8 cents per kilometer only in tires. Multiply that by 100,000 kilometers of the vehicle's useful life, and you are looking at $8,000 in tires. $8,000, almost 10% of the total value of the car. But wait, we haven't talked about the brakes yet. Yes, electric vehicles have regenerative braking that reduces wear, but the Zeekr 001 weighs so much and goes so fast that when you need to emergency brake, those discs and pads work hard. The sport specification brake discs, when they need replacement, cost between $800 and $1,200 per axle. And due to the weight of the vehicle, replacement may be necessary every 60,000 to 80,000 kilometers. And here is the real kicker: energy consumption. A normal electric SUV consumes between 20 to 25 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. The Zeekr 001, driven with enthusiasm, can easily consume 30 to 35 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. That is 40 to 50% more consumption. At average Canadian electricity rates of 12 to 15 cents per kilowatt hour, you are looking at 4 to 5 cents per kilometer just in electricity, compared to an efficient electric SUV that does 3 cents per kilometer. The difference seems small, but over 100,000 kilometers, it is an additional $1,000 to $2,000. The Zeekr 001 SUV is an exciting machine, but every rapid acceleration, every hard braking, every kilometer at high speed is literally burning money in the form of tires, brakes, and electricity. I4. BYD Tang EV, the perfect balance. The BYD Tang EV stands out for its relationship between price, performance, and equipment level. It offers all-wheel drive, high range, and a well-executed interior for a lower cost than several traditional competitors. BYD has consolidated industrial experience in the development of electric vehicles, so the Tang EV is not an experimental product, but a model with a mature technological base. The main critical point is the heavy dependence on software for essential vehicle functions. Battery management, traction control, motor calibration, assistance systems, and power distribution are mediated by electronic modules and digital updates. This allows for improvements through remote updates, which in some cases optimize performance or energy efficiency. However, updates can also modify the vehicle's behavior. Changes in regenerative braking response or traction control intervention force the driver to readjust, even when no serious faults exist. Furthermore, the high integration between modules complicates fault diagnosis. A problem can originate in a sensor, in the software that interprets its signal, or in the communication between control units. Outside the warranty period, service options are notably reduced. Independent workshops usually do not have the diagnostic tools or access to the manufacturer's proprietary software. This forces a reliance on the official network for repairs and updates, which increases maintenance costs in the medium and long term. Overall, the BYD Tang EV offers an attractive value proposition, but its performance and maintenance remain closely linked to a proprietary digital ecosystem that limits user autonomy outside the official service network. 3. Voya Free, when premium comfort meets Canadian salt. The Voya Free prioritizes ride comfort through adaptive suspensions, a high level of acoustic insulation, and seats with wide adjustment ranges. When the vehicle is new and all systems operate within their parameters, the ride quality is on par with SUVs from higher segments. The adaptive shock absorbers vary their stiffness in real time, adjusting to road irregularities to maintain cabin stability. The critical point appears in environments with severe winters. Adaptive suspensions rely on electronic valves, position sensors, and electrical connectors located in areas exposed to moisture, salt, and dirt. The accumulation of these contaminants promotes contact corrosion and seal deterioration. Over time, sensors may send erroneous readings and the system enters protection mode, losing its dynamic adjustment capability. When an adaptive shock absorber fails, the system requires all 4 components to function in a coordinated manner. It is not feasible to replace one with a conventional shock absorber without generating permanent faults in the control system. The replacement must be carried out with equivalent components, the cost of which is high. Furthermore, having been exposed to similar conditions, the other shock absorbers usually show comparable wear, increasing the likelihood of multiple replacements within a short interval. Added to this are other system elements such as hydraulic pumps, pressure accumulators, level sensors, and control modules, which raise the number of potential failure points. Overall, the superior comfort of the Voya Free relies on a mechanical and electronic complexity that, in demanding climates, significantly increases the risk of high maintenance costs in the medium and long term. 2. Avatar 11, the beautiful, impossible to repair. Visually, one of the most stunning SUVs to ever come out of China. Fluid lines, perfect proportions, design details that look like they were taken from a concept car. It is a car that makes people turn their heads on the street. It is a car that makes enthusiasts pull out their phones to take pictures. And that is exactly where the problem lies. That beautiful design, those unique lines, those complexly sculpted body panels. They are not interchangeable with anything else on the market. They are completely exclusive to the Avatar 11. And when something exclusive is damaged, the replacement is painful. Let me tell you a real story. An owner in Toronto has a small accident in a parking lot. Nothing dramatic. Someone opens their door against the rear left panel of the Avatar. Deep scratch, small dent, cosmetic damage that on a Honda CR-V would be fixed in an afternoon. The rear quarter panel of the Avatar 11 costs $3,800. Just the part. No paint, no installation, no materials. Just the metal panel. The waiting time to get it, between 10 and 16 weeks. 4 months of waiting for a side panel, and that is just the bodywork. Let's talk about the optics. The Avatar 11 has headlights with a completely unique lighting signature. Exclusive design, matrix LED technology with sequential animations. They are beautiful, they are exclusive, and each one costs $2,500. A complete front bumper with all integrated grills and sensors, $4,200. Rear trunk lid with integrated lights, $3,600. Rear view mirrors with cameras and heating, $980 each. Now imagine a moderate accident. Nothing catastrophic. Something that in insurance terms would be minor damage. On a conventional car, the repair could cost $6,000 to $8,000. On the Avatar 11, you are easily looking at $15,000 to $20,000, just in parts. Insurance companies see these numbers and adjust premiums accordingly. I have seen reports of Avatar 11 owners paying 40 to 60% more in insurance than owners of comparable vehicles from traditional brands. And here is the real kicker. When it comes time to sell the car, potential buyers do their homework. They see the repair costs, they see the insurance costs, they see the limited availability of parts, and they adjust their offers. A 3-year-old BMW X5 retains approximately 58% of its value. A 3-year-old Avatar 11 is struggling to retain 42 to 45%. It is a difference of $12,000 to $15,000 on an $80,000 car. Even worse, if the car has had any documented body repair, even a perfect repair, the value drops even further. Buyers know that parts are hard to get and expensive, So any damage history is a giant red flag. The Avatar 11 is beautiful. But in the automotive world, exclusive beauty comes with a permanent tax of risk and depreciation. 1. Yangwang U8, the doomed masterpiece. It is presented as a luxury SUV with an extraordinary technical architecture. It incorporates 4 independent electric motors, 1 per wheel, a hybrid system with a combustion engine that acts as a range extender, and advanced off-road capabilities. It can perform tank turns on its axis, continue moving with 1 inoperative motor, and travel over water surfaces in specific situations. Its price places it in direct competition with consolidated premium SUVs. The main problem is not its performance, but the complexity of its system. Each electric motor has its own inverter, controllers, and connections, which multiplies the potential points of failure. A mechanical or electrical problem in one of these assemblies usually implies the complete replacement of the module. Added to this is a large capacity battery with hundreds of individual cells that require a permanent thermal management system, which is especially taxed in cold climates. Over time, battery degradation reduces the real range and raises the cost of operation out of warranty. The combustion range extender adds another cooling and control system that increases overall complexity. Advanced assistance systems depend on multiple cameras, radars, and sensors, the replacement of which is costly. The adaptive air suspension incorporates a compressor, valves, and airbags, all components sensitive to wear and exposure to moisture and salt in winter. As a whole, the accumulation of complex systems increases the risk of high maintenance expenses in the medium and long term. This is reflected in accelerated depreciation compared to luxury SUVs with more consolidated service networks and simpler technical architectures. The Yangwang U8 demonstrates how far engineering can go when the goal is to impress. Its technical capabilities are real, and its proposition is unique within the luxury SUV segment. However, extreme innovation is not always synonymous with practical use or sustainable costs over time. In markets with demanding climates and limited service networks, technical complexity translates into greater long-term financial risk. Before choosing a vehicle of this level, it is advisable to look beyond the initial impact and evaluate the availability of spare parts, the experience of repair shops, and the total cost of ownership out of warranty. If this analysis helped you better understand the risks behind technological luxury, subscribe to the channel, leave your opinion in the comments, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next analyses on real vehicles, real costs, and smart decisions.